Is this the best fantasy sci-fi book subscription ever? We're gonna find this out together. Hi guys, this is Stan. Today let's do something a little bit different and talk about the book subscription that I am currently paying, which is Goldsboro GSFF. In case you don't know, GSFF is a monthly book subscription that are specializing in sci-fi and fantasy. The book is always numbered, signed, first edition, special edition of a new release hardback. I joined this GSFF last October, and at that time there was no wait list. No need to wait for a long period of time to get invited to join this book subscription. This subscription is limited to only 2,000 people, so it is a little bit more limited and inclusive. In terms of the 4 books that I have received so far, they are What the River Knows by Isabel Albéniz in October, The Gilded Crown by Marianne Golden in November, Fate-bound by Sarah El-Sarifi in December, and also Voyage of the Damned by Frances White in January. So the genre of them are all fantasy, which is quite a disappointment because when you sign up for this GSFF, you may expect there is a mixed bag of sci-fi and fantasy, but you can already see there is no sci-fi yet. From what I've read, in 2023, there may be 1 or 2 sci-fi in that year. Even in 2024, the next sci-fi pick is gonna be in March. So if you're like me, wanna expand your reading taste, not just reading fantasy, but also try to explore sci-fi, GSFF may not be the best book subscription to you. Also, after finishing these 4 books, I would say that The Gilded Crown and The Voyage of the Damned are adult fantasies given by the slightly more complex world building and also other trigger warnings like self-harm, suicidal thoughts, torture, physical violence, etc. etc. Fate-bound, I'm not too sure because it is labeled as adult fantasies on Goodreads, but I think it is more in between adult fantasies and new adults because when I read it, the world building itself is not too complicated, everything goes pretty smoothly. There are not too many adult contents or any other trigger warnings, so I'll place it like the gap between adult and new adult fantasies. What the River Knows is quite straightforward because Fairyloot has already put it in their YA box. I think that so far 4 books into this subscription, it is great if you're like me to look for a more diverse choice of writing style because you will got adult, new adult, and also YA. But if you are looking for a particular writing style, let's say YA is definitely not your thing, then I would say that maybe there's a risk when it comes to this GSFF subscription. Another thing to note is the overlapping with other book subscriptions. I'm not sure is it like written in a contract or whatever. I think Enumicrate and Fairyloot, they have promised that their books are not gonna overlap with each other, but I am 4 months into this GSFF and already found quite a lot of duplicates. What the River Knows obviously has done by YA Fairyloot, Fate-bound was done by Adult Fairyloot in December, and also Voyage of the Damned is the choice of Enumicrate in December. If you have already subscribed to different companies, this may be a concern to you and you need to be smart with your skip. So you won't have any like duplicates in your house, or maybe you need to look for which special edition do you like the most. One factor I would consider if I were in this situation is the numbered edition. Unlike other popular big book subscription like Fairyloot, Inimicrate, and Locked Library, GSFF was numbered and limited to only 2,000 people in this world. So if you're considering the resale value, then this 2,000 numbered copies would definitely raise the value a little bit more. I'm not sure why I couldn't find this page on Goldsboro anymore, but I think that when I was looking at it in October last year, they said that the resale or investment value of their books can be worth up to 3 times of the original price. That's why when Inimicrate and Goldsboro announced that they're gonna do Voyage of the Damned for their January choice, which they are both the book subscription that I am currently paying for, I chose Goldsboro rather than Inimicrate. Speaking of, I think Goldsboro is doing 4 skips in a year, which means that if you have used your skip in, let's say, January this year, you need to wait until next January to regain the 4 skips that you could use. Alright, we are here for the books, so let's go back to the 4 books that I have read. I have already done 2 reviews of the 2 books that I'm gonna talk about, so if you want a slightly more in-depth review of them, feel free to check them out after you finish this video. Finish this first, okay? 4 books. I would say that, to be honest, they have quite extreme ratings. There are books that I would say I absolutely love, but on the other hand, I got books that I'm not a big fan of. Just to be fair, just to be honest, let's pick up the worst book out of these 4. Surprise! What the River Knows by Isabel Abenes. This is a historical fantasy that we follow a girl called Ines from Argentina who flew to Egypt to investigate the mysterious death of her parents. While staying there, she will meet a bodyguard hired by her uncle. This team will find the clues that will lead up to the treasure they want to find in Cairo. The thing that I don't quite like is the historical setting of this book because it is set in the 19th century and we follow a teenage girl flying from Argentina to Egypt. And I did wonder, would you let this girl doing whatever she wants in Egypt at that period of time? Agnes would just do whatever she wants to solve the mystery and find the treasures, and I do doubt whether people around her would be so tolerant, given that it is in the 19th century. The romance here are just not there for me. I can't feel the spark between the characters. Also, the pacing of this book sometimes could get really slow, but when things get escalated, it will get really fast. With all these reasons, to be fair and honest, probably this is the worst book I have ever read in my life. Above this, possibly the worst book I have read, I got a book that I don't hate, but I don't love, and it is Feybound. This book we follow a pair of elfin sisters. One of them is a warrior and the other one is a diviner. They got kicked out from their homeland because of a mistake they made. When they tried to make it up, they met a creature that thought to be long dead, which is the Fae. Since then, they have to deal with these creatures and also try to find a way home. The reason I would say I love this book is because how intricate every thread is of the world building to lead up to the political dilemma our main characters gonna face. But what I can't connect with is this pair of sisters. They are supposedly to be adults, but sometimes their choice or the actions just didn't make sense to me. By the end of the story, this pair of sisters just remain the same kind of personality. And I also find that there are certain occasions that the pages are filled with only one-line dialogues between the characters, which I hope that perhaps that could bring a little bit more depth between these kind of interactions. After 2 disappointing reads, I got something that I sort of enjoy. It is The Gilded Crown by Marianne Golden. We got a girl called Halifa who could trade with death in order to bring some animals or human back to life. The queen had kindly asked her to assist the Princess Sullivan from any potential dangers. Halifa wanted to find out who tried to murder the princess so that one day she could be free from this duty. I like the love-hate relationship between Sullivan and Halifa. The queen here is really brutal and bloody in order to keep Halifa to work for Sullivan. I also find it entertaining when Halifa talked to this mysterious figure called Death, But I think when it comes to Halliford solving the riddle to trade with death, I think that part could be a little bit more challenging. Maybe it could be a little bit more risky. But overall, I think that this book is not that bad, but it is not outstanding, if you know what I mean. On the top tier, it is a book that I didn't expect myself to love so much. It is The Voyage of the Damned by Francis White. It is quite refreshing to read because it is not an epic fantasy, it is a murder mystery. This book, we follow our main characters, Ganymede. I'm not sure is it how you pronounce it, sorry about it. He is from the Fish province, along with the other 11 heirs. They will embark a 12-day celebration on the sea, but no one would expect that somebody would get murdered in this celebration. Ganymede will play as a detective and find out who is the murderer. I love the fact that we're gonna follow 12 characters, which is a huge cast, but everybody got their background, got their moment to shine. I also love how every detail gonna be tied up by the end of the book. There are drama, there are past, there are romance, there are love, there are hate between these 12 heirs. It is interesting, it is funny to read how Ganymede works with others, and I also love his dry sense of humor. And the biggest twist, I don't want to say too much about it, and I think you should pick this book up. I find this a really good palate cleanser from all this chunky epic fantasy series because it is funny, it is heartwarming, it is unexpected. Overall, with all these 4 books, there is one that I absolutely love, there is one that I like, there is one that I don't mind, there is one that I hate. So it is fair to say it is a bit of hit and miss. Even if it is the case, I will still definitely keep my subscription because it does expand my reading taste and also buying books that for sure, even though I see them in a bookshop, I will never pick them up. It makes me realize what I like in a fantasy book or what elements I am not a big fan of. I hope that this video is useful if you are considering this GSFF book subscription. So, if you have enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a like. If you don't want to miss any content from me, make sure you have subscribed to my channel. I will see you real soon. Goodbye.